Cardinals, Brewers. I watched the game, but Kat, you were at the game. The old Brewers in a big old series. Number 1 team in the division, number 2. And for one night last night, those Brewers got the best of our birds. Your take.
Bueno started. Obviously didn't have his best stuff. Gave up 10 hits. Was in a hole early. Some of the balls hit hard. A lot of other, like, flares and maybe plays that could have been made. So it was kind of weird. It felt at some point the Cardinal offense was going to kick in, and it never really did. The Cardinals answered in the bottom of the first, and they got another run late, and Goldschmidt is still on a tear, but not enough to overcome a deficit. It was a game that you felt like the Cardinals probably could have and should have won, in my opinion. And the Brewers starter, Lauer, he was struggling early too, but he settled in a little bit. Waino never could settle in.
And with the Cardinals offense, I don't care which lefty is out there. I just feel like they're going to bludgeon every single lefty.
So that's murderer's row, like the top 4 in the order. And Lauer, I think, the first couple of times with Lime, he got one out against those guys and got his outs elsewhere. That's why I felt at some point the Cardinals were going to post a crooked number, but it never really happened. Yeah, they kill. I mean, Goldschmidt is hitting like .520 against left-handed pitching, and obviously Arenado hits him well. Tommy from the other side of the plate hits him well. They have weapons that just they couldn't get enough last night.
And that's where it's tough, I think, to win this series against the Brewers. Looking in there, you said, yeah, if they can get to the lefty, that sets them up nicely because the Cardinals are so good against lefties, top to bottom in their lineup. So now you got an uphill battle to take this series because you're facing Woodruff, you're facing Hauser. Are they throwing Burns? I know it's TBD on Sunday right now.
I think they are at the end, but I don't think they've announced it. So the other story from yesterday is, Jordan Hicks is getting a lot of attention because he was, people are like, why are we stretching a guy out at the major league level? I get it. And he hasn't been great. His last outing, wasn't good. So yesterday they announced that Hicks is going to the IL with a right forearm flexor. He called it forearm tightness, which I think is, he was like, it's a minor thing. I could probably use a break right now. He still believes he'll be a starter. Ollie Marmol has said it's time for execution as opposed to building up. He's past pitch counts and everything. This will be a reset for him. I get why fans are frustrated with Hicks. I just think you want to be careful because he's a commodity, and his stuff is so good. Like in his last outing, he had no command of the fastball, so he's trying to get by with a slider, which is a decent pitch. But obviously, that's like trying to fight someone with one hand tied behind your back. So, just your thoughts on where Hicks is and how they're going to use him going forward.
Yeah, I mean, and also it kind of seemed, I don't know if you talked to Hicks a little bit too about it, but it seems like he was open to coming back in a different role. Like he was fine this time with not coming back as a starter and realizes that it's just whatever the club kind of needs at that point when he's ready to return. I mean, it does concern me, the fact that he is so injury prone that this is happening. Like, I don't know. Like you kind of have these situations where it's like, is he okay? Did they rush him back too soon? Is there something that's not working here? I mean, what did you think? Do you think that they pushed him a little bit too quickly to get back into that starter role?
Look, I got attacked on Twitter for this, right? Because I'm just saying
you deserved it.
He said good.
I'm just saying what the Cardinals say. Like this wasn't my program to make him a starter.
Yeah.
Hicks never said I'm a starter or I'm out. Like the Cardinals and him talked, and they believed that if they stretch him out, health-wise, helping him avoid things like a forearm flexor would be give him a set, spot in the rotation where he gets into a routine instead of being up and down in the bullpen or managing, can we use him back-to-back? Let's just do that. And the experiment didn't work out. So, yeah, I'm sure he's disappointed. I know the Cardinals are disappointed that it didn't go smoothly, but that experiment didn't work, and now let him rest, let him get treatment, get past this, and then reassess. And he never said, I have to start. So it's not surprising to hear him say, wherever they need me, that's where I'll pitch.
Yeah. Well, I also think, too, I feel like, and maybe this is just me, I feel like in like a perfect world, if there weren't so many injuries and maybe if the pitching staff was a little bit more secure in like the roles and health-wise and everything like that, I feel like it would be better if they could send him to the minors and let him kind of stretch out a little bit so he get a little bit more comfortable with it. I just don't know if, like, maybe since he hasn't been a starter before, right, that he was fully prepared for that.
No, he was a starter in the minors, and hearing
maybe
him
he needed some more time.
Maybe
in the
needed more
minors.
time. Like Charlie and I were both back before the season saying, break the glass. In case of emergency, bring back J Happ, and we were like, do it, because it would have put a different scenario out there on how you might have handled this.
That's where I think sometimes, and I love the fans, big old fans. I think sometimes some people are being a little too fanny in the sense of they don't realize that the Cardinals are taking a situation, in my opinion, and they're trying to make the best of it.
Yes.
If Jordan Hicks, if his arm health allowed him to throw back-to-back a lot, I don't think Jordan Hicks would have ever left the bullpen or the closer's role. But because of the way that he bounces back from those outings and from back-to-back type outings, they have basically said from a medical standpoint, it makes more sense to have him as a starter or a bulk innings guy where we can control his rest. So it's by no means a perfect situation. To me, it's the Cardinals in a very complex situation trying to get the most out of their asset because he's still really good. It's just about with his medicals and how his body and arm bounces back, how can they best use Jordan Hicks? Now, if he's an effective starter, that's it. He's not an effective starter right now. And also, at the big league level, though, look, what has he gotten? 5 starts? Like, right now, Jordan Hicks in the rotation is not helping you win ball games. I am not ready to write him off as a big league starter forever. But you also can't throw him out there every night and not have a chance to win. So whatever this IL is, if it's something legit, if it's kind of a reset, it makes sense in my opinion.
I believe it is legit. Like sometimes a player will come up with some shoulder tightness or something. He said, he explained it. You were there, I think, right?
Yeah.
He explained, look, I felt pain after a start, and he actually called it tightness, but later he said soreness. And he said, and it would dissipate as I got close to the next start. So I thought it was just my form getting adjusted to pitching again and to getting stretched out. And it was fine. It was close to fine when it was time for his start. So he was trying to battle through. And then he finally said something. They're like, let's take a look at this and see. Because you think if a guy just can't control his fastball and his forearm's tight, we got to address this. So, yeah, it's an experiment that they thought would be in his best interest health-wise. As you said, I called it a commodity. You call it an asset. Same thing, that you're about protecting that thing and trying to get the most out of it.
Yeah, well, and also you see what just happened with Alex Reyes. That's the last thing you want is these injuries just to continue. And we've seen it's kept him out for a while. And that's the last thing you want is losing that arm again.
Right, and the other positive with another pitcher who's had more than his share of injuries is Flaherty. Threw to hitters yesterday, 25 pitches. Newbar said, I know, from people that were there said, he didn't seem to have his best command, but you're throwing to hitters for the first time. You're not going to. But Newbar said that his fastball was really good. And I asked Flaherty, because Mo said, the question will be how he reacts tomorrow. And Flaherty said, I'm not worried about it. I've been throwing for a while.
Yeah.
I'm in a good spot right now. So what they will do with Flaherty, Tuesday he'll throw to hitters again, might do a couple more of those, and then they'll send him out on a rehab. So, he could be back relatively soon if all goes well, and that's a question too. That would be huge to get that guy back.
Oh, yeah, it would be.
Do you think this series, though, could get ugly for them Redbirds? You just look at the way the pitching stacks up, and also you lost the Waino game where you were facing a lefty.
Yeah.
Where on paper you like a Cardinals lineup versus lefty. I know Woodruff has been a bit inconsistent, but he can be elite. You're not loving what you're seeing from Dakota Hudson. I'm very high on Matthew Liberatore. Big picture, it'll be his first home start against a really good team. Now, Michaelis, you're loving what you're seeing from him. But, look, it's early in the season. You certainly, if you get swept, even if you lose 3 out of 4, Milwaukee's really able to distance themselves, which is which is what happened last year. I'm not saying Milwaukee's going to get up 10, 11 games like they did last year, but you don't want to get too far behind where the Cardinals always get hot. They always get hot late. It happens every year. Well, this team, they're mediocre.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Like, they always do this. They always get hot in August, September. They're right back in it. But you don't want to get 6, 7 games out to the point where it's really hard to claw back and have any chance to win the division.
I think the Brewers offensively, they're short a couple guys now offensively. I don't think they're good offensively, and I think that'll bite them. They got really good pitching. I think what hurt the Cardinals last night is Hader had been out, and he returned last night. Hadn't pitched in a while, but he's still Hader. I mean, their bullpen is really
so good. Another scoreless outing for him. It just makes you want him, right?
Yeah. They got a couple guys on base, but you didn't feel confident because it's Hader, and it doesn't matter if you got guys in scoring position. But offensively, I don't think the Brewers are very good, especially when they're shorthanded and they have a couple guys out.
Yeah, I don't think they're necessarily better than the Cardinals. They have that Brewers lineup. Mm-hmm. Like, if you think back in the day to kind of the Rob Deere days, they just always have that Brewers, like, they have the guys that strike out a ton, but they hit jacks. They have the Rowdy Telezes of the world and the Hunter Renfroes. And
Who's out? Renfro.
I know Renfro's on the IL, but I just think those guys, they fit that ballpark.
Yeah, but these guys aren't Harvey's wallbangers by any stretch, and that's why I think the Cardinals. I don't think they should be overly concerned, and I don't think they're going to get swept. But now's a chance to make some hay. You certainly don't want to lose 3 out of 4 to the Brewers. You have an opportunity here. Hopefully, we'll see a better offensive night. I agree, especially against last night's starter. They had him early, and then he made adjustments, and Waino was not able to make that. Four runs, shouldn't be enough to beat the Cardinals when you're throwing a left-hander out there.
Watching that first inning, I go, this looks like it's going to end 11-9, and then it just became a baseball game after that.
Yeah.
Defense wasn't really great last night. Sosa throwing error would have gotten him out of the inning, kept it a tied game, and then whatever happened between Bader and Yepes. I know, it's no man's land, but still, you'd think that ball's got to be caught.
Agreed. And the Cardinals are a really good defensive team, but they don't have O'Neill, they don't have Carlson right now, so they're kind of patchworking. And I do think that's pretty obvious at certain stretches.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot more. There's so many guys, it feels like, coming in and out of the lineup, doing different positions, that it's not that surprising to me when you see things like that. When I saw Yepes and Bader, it was like just basically like there was no communication there.
Yeah, and the Cardinals know that. I say this with all due respect because everybody loves Yepes's bat, and I'm super excited for his future.
Yeah.
But you're also – so I think he's going to be an above-average offensive player. But from a defensive standpoint, you are replacing a 2-time Gold Glover with a below-average left fielder, and that does stand out.
He's actually been better than I thought he would be.
No, I
moved
agree
him
with that.
around, and what I like about Yepes, and right now he's in a little stretch. I mean, he was well over 300 for most of the year. I think he's dropped below 300 now, so he's not at his hottest point offensively. But I still like his at-bats, and I still like the way he does things. Even defensively, he does things with confidence. Like he doesn't look like he's a young kid. And the Cardinals have gotten, obviously, a huge lift from him, and Donovan has looked very good, even though he had a couple of defensive adventures the other night. I'd like to see also Newpark get a look.
Yeah, that's where I'm kind of like, I feel like every time that the lineup's put out there, I'm just kind of like, oh, guess we're not going to use Newpark.
Mo, when he says stuff, there's usually a reason why he says it.
I know.
When they brought up Newpark, I don't know if you were there for that one.
Yeah.
He said, well, we expect that he'll be good for a defensive replacement, like totally taken off the table that Newpark could maybe get some of the at-bats for Dickerson, right, who has struggled at the plate.
I think you have a different lineup construction versus lefties. Albert's going to be in there. Yepes. You have 3 righties you would think coming up for the Brewers. So I'm guessing Newpark will start one of these games.
Yeah, I'd like
up.
to see that.
Yeah.
I just don't think we gave enough time, and I know we have like a full 6 minutes here, or 5 minutes. But can we just talk about a little bit more about something important, Matt Carpenter's mustache?
Mustache, yeah.
Oh, the
Danny
mustache.
was it Brad Thompson who said that he looked like Mario? And it was
Wait,
pretty true.
he does.
Mario.
It's because of the thick eyebrows, right?
Well, Is that frowned upon with the? Oh
You
my!
can't have a beard.
He looks. That's kind of. Nah. I'm
Wait,
saying.
what are you gonna say?
They're kind of creepy.
Yes, I agree.
Creepy.
It's a creepy thing.
It's not a good look. It's not.
Kind of looks like a little twink boy.
He does look twinky.
Oh, what?
He does look. No,
Check, please.
you're right on that. It's not a good look, and I'm surprised that the Yankees organization isn't like shave that damn thing off and look professional.
You know what? I always hate to agree with Nate. No, just kidding. But when I first saw the picture, it looked like more of a bushy mustache like Mario or Luigi. But then when Nate said that and I saw it, he kind of looks like a French guy.
Yes.
Oh my
He
god.
does.
He looks like a French guy that's serving
You something.
your beignet.
Oh,
Yeah.
He said so. And afterwards, he said his 5 and 6 year old kids have never seen him without a beard, so they didn't recognize him when he walked out of the bathroom.
Yeah, the mustache thing. I don't know. That's like the last thing on my list. I'll do the goatee before
He grows
you look
like
good
I
to
think it's
goatee.
because he grows really thick, dark hair that it's like very startling. I
Well,
don't know.
Like if
I mean,
John,
it's not terrible.
if John Winsick has a mustache, you're like, that dude's a cowboy. Like
See,
he's
that-
tough looking, But like
he
Matt
does
Carpenter's
look like a
hi.
cowboy.
You know,
No, he
th- you know-
doesn't.
You know what this looks like to me? This one, because he's also
Oh,
making
stop.
like a squint.
Looks like
he
Brendan
kind of looks
Ryan.
like a French waiter disapproving of your order, like ho ho ho.
Oh, you would imagine.
So I think there's something to that.
Molestache for sure, Jeff Todd. It does look you do look creepy with a mustache on.
Does he
I'm
kind
gonna
of
give it a
look
double
like
take.
that guy from oh my gosh, what is that show that we like? Not 1883.
How to Catch
the
a
other
Predator.
One. No.
Love
Yellowstone.
that show. Such a horrible.
That was a great show.
Yellowstone.
You know the musician guy?
Oh no, yes,
Kinda.
no, the handsome musician guy, the cool cowboy that plays the guitar.
Yeah.
That's
Wait,
kinda- yeah,
but he
he's
has
cool.
a beard.
Or I thought he just had a
No.
mustache. A mustache.
Listen, no, that guy's way more handsome than Matt Carpenter. That
So-
guy, and he plays a guitar.
So I think too, the cool thing about Cardinal fans is they'll kill him on social media. You know, Carpenter, like, oh, bet he goes 0 for 20 and clogs a base pass for the Yankees. But the truth is, if the Yankees were here for the next series and he was in the starting lineup, he would get a standing ovation.
Jim, 100
Yeah.
billion %.
Here's also
100 billion %.
what's funny, because it always happens this way. It always happens this way. Right now, if you were to look at the Cardinals, what does the lineup actually need? Now, different
Oh,
positions,
boy.
but they signed a lefty bat in Corey Dickerson. Now, clearly, Matt Carpenter, the last 3 years here, it wasn't working out. It just wasn't. They needed to turn the page. He needed to go somewhere else, figure it out. But it would be kind of ironic if Matt Carpenter becomes a legitimate lefty bat
That would be so
for the
wild.
Yankees, and that's somebody the Cardinals need this year.
Hey, look, the
It always happens that
Yankees.
way.
The Yankees will be at Busch Stadium August 5th through the 7th.
Now, and if he's still there, because he's there because they
Yeah,
had injuries
obviously.
and stuff, if he gets traction and he starts hitting and he's there, he will get a standing
He will.
ovation. There's no
100%.
As he
question.
should.
Yeah.
As he should.
And Dickerson right now, like Charlie wanted Dickerson, I said we should have Jock Peterson, but that's fine.
That's false.
I know, I'm just joking.
I think I have to say we can go to the tape. I think when they signed Dickerson, I believe I was kind of against it that next day. We
I
can
think
check
you
the
were.
tape. We can check the
We
tape.
know Nate was.
I'm wrong a lot.
I was?
I don't know. I usually think you're against everything.
But-
No, I didn't know this, though. I had Tiger Peterson on. He's the Double-A hitting coach. I didn't know that was Jock's brother.
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Tiger?
Tiger,
That's
Tyger. He was good, actually.
TYG?
I wonder where he got that name from.
But Jock isn't here. Corey is. Maybe Corey will get straightened out. But I'd like to see Newt get some offensive work here.
Yes.
Newt, I think, you should confirm this with Newt Barr. Last night, there was a camera shot in the dugout, and he was in the well, okay? Like, he kind of had 1 foot up on the stairs, and he gave a very interesting, I thought, wink
Oh.
at the camera. And knowing Lars a little bit, it wouldn't shock me if he knew that the camera was maybe panning that way, so he had an opportunity to give a quick wink.
Unless he's just winking.
Unless he just winked, but it was so quick that it's hard to really, truly know if it was
You
coordinated.
want me to find out?
I would
Yes,
love to
please,
get to the
Jimmy.
bottom of this, yeah.
All right, because I've also had to confirm something else about Lars off the beaten track. Alexa told me she saw him at Target.
Oh,
That's
wow.
hard.
What
And
did
I
he
said-
pass?
And I said, "Well, what did he have
What?
in his
What's wrong with
basket?"
Target?
And
No,
she said,
nothing.
She said, I didn't want to like getting his personal business. And I said, I would have looked because I would have tried to find something that I could have brought up that could have gotten a few laughs.
That's the difference.
You know, like toe fungus medicine or something.
You see what he's buying at Target.
I also want to credit Bally Midwest last night. I thought whoever was operating the fan shots, the cameraman, were doing a very nice job.
I know what you're talking about.
They're doing a very nice job. I'm just gonna say they did a
Was there
very
some hotties
nice
in that
job
mug?
last night. They should do exactly what they did last night on
What were they doing?
Keep doing
It
what
was
they were
really
doing.
obvious
I noticed
what
that.
they were doing.
Yeah.
I noticed it
Couple
too because
hotties?
we had
I'm
the
not
game
watching
on,
the
and I was
feed,
like,
so I don't
kept looking up, and I was like, oh, this is like a lot of like women that they're showcasing here. I was like, huh?
Is that frowned upon?
No, it was just I've never noticed the broadcast do that much of it before.
I'm there. I'm not watching the camera feed, so I wouldn't even know.
Yeah, the hockey's doing that right now.
It was you, wasn't it, Jim? You were
Yeah,
just
I have a remote camera.
There's a bunch of hot girls sitting behind the bench. Well, the Dallas girl, the Insta models, like, look at me. Now, Calgary had that last night. It didn't work for them. I think it's a curse doing that.
Is it?
You got to find the ugly ones. I think it's going to make the team do better because now all these hot girls are behind the bench, and every team that happens to, they lose. Calgary. You get a bunch of dudes back there instead.
From a viewership standpoint, Bally, just keep doing what you're doing. That was.
I know. I noticed it too.
You
It was
noticed
really
it then.
interesting.
And they did it then. The Cowboy and the Village people, Timmy Van Gellichensen. Ballsy, baby! The boys, 636, do all the Blues alumni sit together at home games? Yeah, we kind of do. That's where the good wine is. I'm going to be
Wait,
opening.
do you have the inside scoop? Who's going to be banging the drum tonight?
I don't know.
I want to know.
Nazem Kadri.
Who's going to bang the drum?
Stop.
Who? You got it?
All I can say is Mike Caruso texted last night for 4 different phone numbers. I wish I could tell you which one he settled on, but they're all legends.
I hope it's Freeze. I want to see David Freeze do it.
I was thinking that. Freezer.
Actually, there's
Oh.
some.
Ozzy.
Oh!
Because here's why. Frank said if you're texting numbers night before, that means it's got to be a local guy. Freeze lives in Austin.
I will confirm that Ozzy was one of the numbers he requested.
What game?
Football legends too.
What game is it tonight?
6?
Freeze did his triple. What game was
that would be.
Oh, Jimmy.
But I don't think he's in.
No,
he's in Austin.
But you can't text the night before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's local.